on live. What's going on out there this fine Tuesday evening in MECA land, Facebook land, YouTube land? How you guys doing out there this evening? What's going on? I'm going to have Curtis Lowe, one of the finest pickers to ever play the blues, on here in a minute. What's going on, G-Off, Mr. Joe? How you guys doing this evening? What's going on, Mr. Pops? I don't think we have any events coming up this weekend, so I don't think, unless I miss some or Selena's slacking on me, but I don't think so. Obviously, we don't have a whole lot of new news. I think we got through sound quality halfway decent, so I'm hoping to have the rule books up by the first of the year here. Dueling demos is still a little bit of a task, and then show and shine. But I've about got sound pressure ready to go, and sound quality is not far behind it. So that is all coming along pretty good. What's going on, Kurt? Miss Whitney? Jeff needs to sell his element. So anybody that needs an element, let Jeff know. Mr. G off. I need you to buy his element. So anyways, and then of course, like I said, we should have the internet guys working on our stuff here around Christmas. So hopefully that'll start looking better again here shortly, and we'll start seeing our 2025 calendar accumulate. So I think that's most of the news I got right this second. What's going on? Meemaw and Shannon watching, commenting like they're me. But so I guess, like I promised you, I got Mr. Curtis here, I guess. Joe picked him as the next victim, so I guess we're going to get Mr. Kurt on here, Mr. Curtis Lowe, Kurt Agency. I'll probably say it wrong, but it'll be all right. So I'm going to bring him on here. I think he's, this year's Modified 4 and XM2 world champion. I think you got Hatfield and McCoy, former Alma Gates winner. I don't know. He's been around a little bit, been around the block a few times. I know he was competing when I first came into it, like 2002, 3-ish. So when I first started coming around, old Kurt was out there doing some pretty big scores even back then. What's going on, Mr. Mac, Mr. Mayo? So without making y'all wait anymore, I'll bring Curtis on here. There's Mr. Kurt. What's going on, Kurt?
Nothing, man. What's happening?
Oh, not a whole lot. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good, man. Just hanging out in the garage, man. Getting over a heck of a day of work. You know?
I hear that.
Yeah. How's it going for you?
It's going pretty good. Chad's already trying to get us going. He said, "What's Kurt's pronouns?"
Anything you want. I'll be your huckleberry.
Banana.
Yeah, I knew. I took so long for that to start, you know.
Right.
I should have wore the bikini, you know.
How many world titles does Curtis have?
I don't know. At least 2. I don't know. I had to think about it for a minute. I won Park and Pound a couple times. I run Radical X maybe 3 or 4 times. Modified 4 3 times. Modified 5 a few times. You know, that was before the J. Co. era, you know. But yeah, I've won that a few times. And I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, 10 or 12. I don't know. You guys probably got more stats than I do.
More stats? I don't got no stats.
Yeah.
I think Joe's got some.
Oh, I guarantee it. He's all about the numbers.
I did more helping than I did winning.
Right. Yeah, Steve used to tell Joe, man, it's pretty hard for you to get 3 or 4 cars ready for finals, ain't it? He won whole street class one year.
Right? Kurt don't know. I think Joe has over 13 now. So Kurt's right on your butt, Joe. What are you gonna do?
If he's got 13, I probably got like 9.
Okay. I think he's got 13 MECA titles. I think it might be 12, but I'm pretty sure this year made it 13, I think.
Yeah. That's a feat. That's a feat.
What's going on, Mr. Smith? What yeah. I guess that's a good question. What kind of vehicle do you bring out there, Kurt?
Well, it used to be an ice cream van until we had a fire at the house and cooked it a little bit. So now it's just a, like a 2000 Dodge Ram van with no windows. It, should say free candy on the side, but that was already taken. So,
right.
But yeah, just a Dodge Ram van,
Just a Dodge Ram van.
Yeah, you know that. I knew a guy had one that had a mailbox hanging off the side of it once.
Hey, because that's just because I just got a letter.
Yeah.
It says free candy on the side.
I probably already ate it.
It's already ate. What kind of system you got in there? What speakers and stuff you using?
Well, I got 12 DC Neo 3.0 15s in a 4th order, pretty big ratio. Got a DC 9K on each sub, wired at 0.25, and I'm coming up a little short on my skib cells. I got 174 amp hours. Probably use a little bit more when I get in the top end of my wattage, though. To be honest.
Probably.
Yeah, I went from 570 amp hours of CMAX, and there's definitely a difference there. But the skibs make me sleep better at night.
Right.
So I can't afford to build a new one.
I don't blame you. It's the banana van.
It drives like a banana. That's why I be trailing it all the time. If you're hugging the white line on the road, the back tires are at least a foot off that line. It don't go straight anymore.
Yeah, the mailbox van was like an egg.
Yeah, I bet.
Joe said it was like an orb. I only did it that way because in the wintertime it made it so I could turn a blowtorch on and stick it in the back of the box, and then it felt like it was blowing heat out of the port. No.
Nice.
No. I remember the first car I seen Kurt have, but what was your first car audio competition vehicle?
Well, in MECA, it was a 93 Dodge Daytona.
That's the one I was going to say I thought was the first one I saw.
Yeah. There's better vehicles to put a wall in, but that's what I had, so that's what I used. And I drove that thing everywhere, man. It was pretty cool.
It was pretty loud, too. I think what I remember, it had about 612s in it. About what? Was it 3 of them big Hyphonics things?
Yep.
Like a Colossus or something?
Yeah, they were the Samsons.
Yeah,
they're 8Ks. They were the longest thing ever, man. They were like 41 inches foot to foot, man.
I remember they took up the whole hatch.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
You could be creative.
It was a park and pound beast. I thought it did pretty good at sound pressure, too. I can't remember if it was headrest or floorboards, but I thought it did mid 60s.
Yeah, and the kick, it did. It did really well in the kick. I never broke a 60 at the headrest. It did a 59.9, like for almost a year, and it never would do that 60. Of course, this is when you had 2 layers of peel and seal, or
Right.
Dynamite Extreme. That's all you had, So there wasn't the materials available that there is now. So, no wood roof, everything bone stock. But yeah, it did. I think it did a 64.6 in the kick. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember it being pretty loud somewhere. And then Lauren said, "What was your favorite car audio vehicle?"
Well, that's kind of a toss up. The one I have now, I like it because it's definitely the loudest, but I kind of was pretty fond of the Land Rover. It got down pretty good, and it was very consistent. Here, Lauren just passed me a picture of it.
Yeah, it's the one he should have never let get away.
Yeah, I sold that for $1,000.
Yeah, I know. I would have took it if it wasn't so heavy.
Well,
I wanted it, but
yeah, I get it. I want it back. I want it back. The real problem with that was this was pre-lithium,
well,
So,
yeah, and it had the big battery cage and stuff.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the batteries was like 3,000 pounds, man. That was basically why I took some time off. Transportation is mean.
Oh yeah.
So the road is a very nasty place to be sometimes. So, but yeah,
Joe said his favorite was the CRX with the glitter box.
Oh yeah, yep. I had 2 MT18s in it and 4 VFL 400s. It was pretty loud. I mean, it was okay. I never really worked it out though because I got bored with it real fast. There's only so much room in them. So, but I think it did like a 57 at the headrest. I don't even know if I ever took it to a show. That's just garage score, so it don't really count.
Right.
But yeah, I used like a 2 kilo tub of orange glitter on it. I resined it and then sprinkled orange glitter on it. And I thought I was something.
Right.
So yeah, I've had many. I had a Caravan too. I bought that off of I can't. Brad Russell. Remember him?
Who was on your first car audio team? What was your first car audio team called?
It's called Extrafo Audio. It was just me, a group of my friends, local. It stood for I'm knocking somebody right the F out. So me and Greg Higgins, you know him, old Higgy.
Yeah.
And then you remember Larry Heron? He did like M1 for a while. It was him. And then soon thereafter came Bobby Mack and Scott Smith, and there was Ron Gooding. He mostly did DB drag though. He wasn't built for this. Eric Alexander, Gene Alexander, all them guys, Team Livewire guys. Derek Weber. Derek Weber's back in the lanes now. Joe Alt. I mean, me and Joe was on a team in 2005. Dan Bates, Eric Ballmer, Jack Thomas, Billy Thomas, Linda Thomas. She makes the best sandwiches too. You know it.
Yeah.
She really does. So, sorry, Lauren makes the best sandwiches now. My bad.
I think the old red CRX is Jack's that Joe has now.
Yeah. That thing's always been awesome. But still.
This guy said he thinks Wes is willing to sell your thing back to you.
Your Land Rover.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is. I sold it to him with the brake line like that. Everything for a Land Rover is expensive. The distributor went out. I bought a distributor on eBay used for $1,000. I don't know how much one for a Chevrolet costs, but it's probably 300 new or 400 new. Back in them days. Yeah, I would like to have it back, but there's only room for one. You know,
Only room for one.
yeah, I don't think it's going to be able to do a 75 or higher than that. You know, you just can't cram enough stuff in the front. You can put a lot of vibroflex into it and get that score up.
I don't know. It might be loud.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
I think it can do 70s.
Yeah, my highest score was 67.2 with the headrest. That's with 2 layers of deadener and a stock dash that a piece broke off every time I burped it, though.
Oh, you broke a piece off every time, huh?
Almost every time. Yeah, if you played under 48 hertz, it would crack the windshield right in the middle every time. So, but yeah, I'd like to have it back just to see what I could get it up to with today's materials and rules and stuff. You know, I think it'd be real competitive, but I don't know if it'd be more than the van could do.
Fair. What's your favorite award that you've won?
I don't know. You know, this one probably is the topper because you only win this once. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it took me a long time to achieve that, but I don't know. It's morphed over the years. I used to like my favorite one. Let's see, where's it at? I got about 6 of them in here. The Stinking Loud Award.
Right.
That's one of my favorites. I think I've won that about 5 or 6 times. The Hall of Fame in 2008, that was pretty good. Yeah, here's one. Here's the most recent one. She's tearing my wall up. She's taking all the stuff off my wall, man.
Dang, she messed your wall up.
But I don't know. You know, I like them all. I like winning new stuff too, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that I'll be winning any dueling demos championships or anything like that, you know. But I might try my luck at it one day.
One day?
One day. Not this year. So
One day, not today, though.
Yeah, not today. Procrastinators unite tomorrow.
All right. Next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I take this van as far as I can, then I might dial it back into something a little bit more moderate. So, yeah.
I don't know.
Not dueling demos extreme either.
No.
I ain't go for that life.
Golf cart.
Yeah, there you go. Just my speed.
Yeah. You can put it in the van.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I need. Just, you know, I need another 1,400 more pounds in the back of it, you know?
Yeah. I thought that's what you were looking for earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I wanted that to be in lifting.
Oh.
Yeah. So I just barely got the van back together.
What is your plan for show and shine? What do you mean, Chad?
Yeah, I'm gonna put another coat of bed liner on it. You know, that way the door matches the rest of the van. You know, that's about as far as I'm willing to take it. I'll spit shine the rims a little bit. That's about all you get, though.
Right.
Yeah. When I clean it, it makes the sandbag seem heavier.
Right.
Yeah.
What's going on, Cody? Yeah, I don't know what you mean there, Chadwick. I think maybe he was asking me, but I was talking about that 20 minutes ago.
Oh, I thought he was just being sarcastic, you know.
He never knows, Chad.
Right, I hope he is, you know.
I'm over here thinking he's actually asking a question, but you're probably right. He's probably being a butthead. Chad. What's everybody else up to? You got questions for Kurt? What do you want to know about Kurt? What do you want to know about his build? Curtis is the show and shine king, huh? It's because he's got them Twinkies on that van, isn't it? Chad's just being funny. The show and shine king, huh? So you were right. Chad was just being funny.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever had rims on a vehicle. I had to get rims because 15-inch tires only come in 8 ply, and I needed 12. so I had to get new rims.
Dang. I don't know if you get bonus points in show and shine for that.
Yeah, yeah, you got to get down and read the small print, you know.
Right.
80 psi cold.
Well, what do you think your plans are moving forward for the 2025 season?
Well, you know, my heart's with SPL, so I mean that's where I'm going to stay. You know, me and the fellas probably have a pretty good skull session at the shop. You know, we generally go over the rule book with a fine tooth comb at the beginning of the year, and you know, see where we can make a revision. You know, and then just work backwards from there. As far as score, more than I did last year. You know, I don't know how much score I can get without making a major change, but I'm gonna give her heck.
Right. Fair enough. What's your favorite car show to attend each year? Or your
Uh,
favorite audio show or car show, either one, I guess.
I don't know if I could narrow it that to one. Slamology is a great show. You know, I never get a chance to like look at everything and fellowship as much with my people and stuff like that. But you know, I like a lot of the bigger shows like Slammer for Soldiers here. That's always a great show. Scott Smith does that show, Rumble on the Runway. I always have a good time there. You know, I see all the fam down there. Um, you know, I didn't make it to the Summer's End Festival last year. I think that would have been up there just based by what everybody was telling me and such. Um, you know, always finals. Finals is always the spot for me. You know, I get to see people that I only get to see once or twice a year. You know, I get to poke fun at people that I usually can't. You know, stuff like that. You know, I mean, there's so many of them. You know, I can't really just narrow it down. As many as I can make it to. You know,
There you go.
I have fun at all of them. You know, that's really the reason I got back into doing this. You know, I love SPL to my soul, but it's the fellowship. That's really what brought me back. You know, I went to a little meetup. I was talking to Wayne Clay, and he was like showing me a system. I'm like, what's that? And he's like, oh, that's CMAX. I'm like, what's that? And he's like telling me about it and everything. And I'm like, that's the solution to my problem. You know, I mean, I don't have to haul 3,000, 4,000 pounds of batteries to a show anymore, you know?
Right.
And, you know, that was really the biggest thing. It was just, you know, somebody stole my trailer, somebody broke in the shop, you know, that was pretty much the be all end all for me for a little while, you know? Plus life gets busy, you know?
Right. For sure. They said, but what's it do at 20 hertz?
I mean, you know, in other organizations, that would be called a call out. I don't know. I know it did a 150.5 on 2K at the headrest at 20, you know. So I would think they'd be able to do like a 63 or thereabouts, maybe. I don't know. I ain't trying to blow my stuff up at 20 hertz, though. I'll tell you what it does at 63, though.
They said you stole Higgy's mom's pillows for a speaker box. Is that true?
Yeah, that was oh my. All right, so you know this was the 90s, right? So big thing in the 90s was, you know, put some polyfill in your box, make your speakers, you know, trick your speakers into thinking your box was a different size.
Right.
So, you know, we were still in high school, we were buzzed, you know. I'm like, man, go get some polyfill. And he was like, I don't know if I have any. I'm like, don't you got a spare bedroom with a pillow in it? So he comes back, and we're building this box for these two IMPP 12s or whatever they were, Pioneer 12s. And I'm like, well, cut it open. He cuts it open, right? It's goose down, right? So we start stuffing this stuff in the box anyway, you know, and his mom comes out in the garage. So we push the pillow down in the box so she wouldn't see it. And all these feathers fly out the other hole, you know, common chamber. And she's like, "What are you guys doing?" He's like, "Stop, Mom. You know, go back inside. We're busy." So we end up putting a bunch of these feathers in this box, right? We put it in this Cavalier, facing forward. Couldn't tell us nothing. Start playing it, and it's beating, and it's beating for like 2-3 minutes, and then like it just gets quieter and quieter and quieter. I'm like, "Dude, you blew a sub, bro." And he's like, "No way, no way. It's just a punch 200." So I go back and I feel on the cone, and I'm like, "Dude, that coil's locked up," right? So we take the box out, unmount everything, take it out. We pull the subs, and behind the basket, or between the basket and the cone, was all these feathers that flocked into the basket, and it just like wedged in there, and the speakers just wouldn't move. The X Max was like 1 mil. You know what I mean? So yeah, and then he got grounded for cutting up his grandma's pillow. So, wow, Lauren telling all the dirty secrets.
Yeah, she is. How many amp hours do you have? Somebody asked. Was it, you said 170 something?
Yeah, 174, because that's the biggest one they had. So I'm sure they make bigger bars now, but that was the biggest bars they had. So I don't really know much about it, except it'll do 164K for a 3-second burst with no alternator. So I've heard.
Why don't you give demos? He does give demos.
I believe my wife made that comment.
Yeah, she did.
She's seen my Recon bill, and then she's asking me why I don't demo. I don't demo because I don't currently have a copy of Nirvana in the van. You can demo at 40 hertz and maybe 50. I'm at 63. That's why I don't park and pound anymore. I mean, that and it destroys the interior of the van. But,
right.
Yeah, it's just not feasible. I need to be gentle on my stuff because it's got to last me.
Well, I mean, to be fair, everybody gives a demo. I mean, a demo is a demonstration. Kurt demonstrates how loud his stereo is for 30 seconds every show.
Yeah.
That's a demo.
I mean, I can show you all kind of pictures.
All kinds of them, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, she's being all mean now. How many windshields did you go through in a season?
My most is 7.
7?
Yeah. I went to 7 shows.
That's your record, huh?
Well, yeah, that's my record for one season, but I do them 2 at a crack now. I'm building them a little different now, so hopefully that number will go down. I'm gonna kill her if she did that again.
No, the next question was honest. How much does a double window cost?
I don't know. I can't find the receipts. About 700. All in, But I got a good windshield guy. He takes care of me on the installation,
Right.
He puts about a gallon of urethane around it,
She's mad. She said that's not true.
She's got the Chase app. She knows how much that cost. I just ain't scared to tell her,
What else we got going on in here? If I missed you, you got to re-ask. Oh, they said build a park and pound is also.
I'm thinking about that. I've got a 94 Camaro, but I don't think that's the one. If I'm going to build something, I'm going to make it where I can be competitive with it, I got a Yukon XL sitting at the shop that if the rocker panels hold together, I might do something with it, But I ain't going park and pound 5. I ain't messing with them crazy dudes.
Drop the link.
Huh?
The window guy? I don't know. Kevin said drop the link to OF.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You realize I'm 47 years old. I don't know how to do that.
I can't.
It's KD Auto Glass, Columbus, Ohio. After I get off here, I'll post a comment with his number. He's a really good dude, and he understands what we're trying to do. So he doesn't cut any corners. You know, he does a really excellent job. He did Jason Conrad's. I think he did Cody Van Dyke's maybe too. He's done several of them. He did Jake Mosley's. You know, but yeah, he does a real good job.
Tell us all we may need one.
I hope so.
Um, I think that's what that meant. Yeah, that they was trying. He was now I know because he knows we're both too old to understand. So he tricked us because you're supposed to give him the OnlyFans link.
I'll give you Danny's. Danny Black's got a. Well, his is. Yeah, I seen that comment. He's got a reverse OnlyFans. He sends you nasty pictures, and you got to pay him $15.99 to stop.
Oh man, y'all are wild.
You know what the biggest feat is? Getting me to sit here for an hour and a half, not doing anything. Like I'd be building a model car by now or something. Usually, I got ADHD real bad.
We got Kurt sitting for too long.
I'm gonna start fidgeting soon.
I guess that could be a good question. I guess who is Alma Gates for the young folks? I don't. There probably ain't a whole lot of folks doing it that don't know who she is or heard of her. But I'll let Kurt answer that one.
Well, that's gonna be a short answer for me. I mean, she was an innovator. I mean, she had a really great team. She put out some really nice custom work vehicles. I believe at one time she had a world record, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, she was ahead of the curve for her time for sure, and very hip and very knowledgeable. You know, she was definitely ahead of the curve though. So.
Yeah, I'd say probably one of Car Audio's greatest ambassadors, probably. I guess if
Absolutely.
you had to sum it up in a nutshell. So, yep, Mike. He said he'll get you the window link. Oh man, I don't know the answer to that. I don't think I might know where one of them is. Where is her Bronco at? If I want to say the last time I remember, because I think there was two of them or maybe even three. But I don't know where it ended up, but I know Poundstone used to have one of them. But I think he got rid of it a while back, but he might be able to tell you where it went. Maybe I feel like maybe the Munsons might have got it, but I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen one of them in the wild or like somebody say they had a hold of it. So I'm not 100% sure where it ended up, but I know the best lead I would give you is Mr. Warnock, Ryan Warnock or Warnick, however we pronounce that. But I know he used to have one of them. How much Vibraflex you got in that van?
There's a rule that says there's an unlimited amount of deadener. So I buy it by the pallet. So I'm not saying I use it all. It's just the best way to buy it. I'm going to say in front of the B pillars, several sheets, like maybe 50.
50 sheets, half a skid.
Yeah, maybe something like that, you know. That's where the batteries went.
Right.
They went to Vibraflex. That's about 15, 16 pounds a sheet. So I'm getting ready to do suspension work on the front this year.
suspension on the front, huh?
Yeah. I already upgraded the coil springs, and I guessed wrong. That was 35 sheets ago. So,
He said cast a Vibraflex van.
oh yeah, that's one of the best materials I've used. That will gain you more score than doubling your power, probably. It depends on how close you were on power before, though.
It's definitely changed the game a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, uh we just did not that we didn't have stuff we could have used, I guess, but with the way kind of when I first got into it, the way the rules were and things like that, there just wasn't no way you could really make panels as hard as you can now. And
Right.
I mean, at this point, the deadeners progressed so much that, like, I don't know, people even ask me, like, well, I can't use wood or this or that. And I'm like, well, no, you're not allowed to. But, like, I wouldn't probably use wood anyways, even if you could, you know? So the deadeners definitely came a long way. I don't know. Uh, that and the batteries is probably the two biggest things I
Yeah.
feel like that really brought us to a next level of being able to make better scores and things like that. Uh, the rest of it, I mean, yeah, they've come up with stuff, but you know, speakers are still round and amps are still rectangles. So
Right.
it seems like I know, especially for like I guess for everybody, the batteries and the deadener changed everything. But I know for like the streetcar guys, it really helped out. Because we had to use you had to use the ICA for the battery, so you know, it's you know, that came a long way. Yeah, amp power is a lot cheaper. I think I remember paying $1,000 for 2Ks,
Right.
and and I think you and Joe's been around it a little bit longer than me, so I'm sure you probably can remember some even worse stuff. Maybe, but
Yeah. I paid $576 for a Punch 200. That was about 550 watts.
uh, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say efficient subs also, but I mean, to be honest, that really ain't changed a whole lot either. I mean, I don't know. We've been building speakers for a long time, I guess, but I mean, yeah, the Neos help out to an extent, I suppose. Yeah, but as far I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking efficient. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, the Neo stuff really takes over when you get into the higher power bands.
Right.
Not that they can't help you out on lower power, also, but I feel like there's a lot of different speakers and things like that if you want to do the research and development on them, you can make them do what you need them to do. I mean, hell, I use the
Oh, yeah?
You smile, you're still on.
Yeah. I don't know where he went, but I guess I'll take over till he gets back. Yeah. I'm a firm believer in subs being efficient back in the day as they are now. You just have to modify the suspension, but you don't get both. You either get efficiency or top end, you know.
my computer beat stupid.
No. You switch me sides.
Yeah, I don't know how it did that either, but it kicked me out somehow,
That's all
and
right.
I had to reload it.
So yeah, I don't even know if they could have heard me or not. I was starting to talk. I don't want to just be here like a buffoon, you know.
Yeah, I think they could still hear you.
Okay. So yeah, the efficient subs. I was just telling the same. I was starting on that too. You just have to modify your suspension to match your power class. You can't think you're gonna get the top end Neo sub with a stock suspension and think you're gonna do good in a 1500 or a 3000 class.
Right.
You gotta definitely match up well with what kind of power you're dealing with.
I go along with that. I was getting ready to say that I think I had a pair of Shocker Sigs that we just now quit using, maybe 2 or 3. Like, well, not me personally, but like they won championships 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and they were basically, 2004 version Shocker Sigs, and they won a lot of championships, and it was a long time. I'll tell you that for me, but I had a lot of R&D in that speaker too because I worked with it forever. But it took a Neo speaker before I found one that was louder.
Yeah, those have real tight gaps too, right?
Well, the ones I liked were the big gap ones, but they're hard. They're a little harder to find.
Oh, okay.
But they do have. There's 2 separate versions, but the ones I had held at was they called it the big gap and the tight gap, but the ones I had was the large gap. But I just had them figured out, because we built them so many times. I knew how to build it to get it to do what I wanted it to do, and that goes a long way when you're looking at efficiency and stuff like that. And not that you can't just buy stock speakers that are kind of already set for that, but a lot of the guys that are out here taking it real serious, they're definitely changing the guts.
Yeah, you have to.
So
you definitely have to. Yeah, that was one of the biggest motors I'd ever seen. It made an MT look small.
The Shocker motors.
Yeah, those. I don't even know if you could made it into a 12. It was.
You could make it a 12. The motor is 11 and a quarter, I think.
Yeah, a little sloppy.
You couldn't have it as a 10 unless you mounted it unless you mounted a trim panel to it.
Right.
I had a friend that had a 10-inch that he mounted a baffle to the frame and then built it that way.
Yeah, we did a level 510 with a steel plate that separated in the middle on top. There's a reason they don't make a 10 now.
SIGs. Yeah, Kurt used his Type R, or Joe said I use my Type Args.
Yeah, he brought his Elmer's glue to keep them together for his second run too. Yeah, those things perform for him.
Oh, somebody said, how does 2 American Bass 8s sound in an Isuzu?
Oh, I know who that is. That's Dave Daytona. Dave Cottrell. He bought my Daytona and gutted the whole thing and come back next year, and he won M4 with it the year after I won with completely different setup in it. And then a monster truck ran it over and he had to scrap it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's talking about those 8s. He had them in like a reverse fire port, man. That thing, it sounded like the ground was coming apart, man. It was pretty crazy. It was a Isuzu just like Whitney's Colorado.
Right. Ran him over, huh?
Mm-hmm.
V3 compacts. Yep. They stayed together enough to win the championship. I guess that's probably true.
I bet they would. If you're looking for V2s, holler at me.
V2s?
Yeah.
Well, you got V2s?
I got a couple. Got enough to test them. see where they fall,
Right. Fair enough. I've tested quite a few of them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just don't have a bunch of parts for them laying around where I can keep cutting them up and doing stuff with them.
Right. A lot of them are pretty close. I mean, but at the end of the day, I guess when you're hunting tents, you're hunting tents. But in my experience, most of the Neo motors, once you get to a certain place, they're pretty close with each other most of the time. I mean, yeah, you'll see differences here and there, and obviously, if you're using all stock parts, that makes a difference. If you're actually gonna take each one of them and set it up for your build, then you're gonna see those gaps get a lot closer.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, I feel like you should just, pick one you like or whatever and get it. And, most of the time, if you've got a good speaker or a good foundation, you can work with it. Just my thought process.
Yeah, you definitely have to keep making revisions. You take one Neo out and put a different one in, and you're like, oh, the first one was louder. Well, yeah, in that application, but take 2/10 of a cube out of the rear chamber and see what it does.
Right.
You got to work your craft. A lot of these people, they waste a lot of money by building something, and then they decide they don't like it instead of working it in, and then they'll just dispose of it and start over, and then they're right back to square one again. I turned my van on the first time when I had like 1.5K. I turned it on. It did like a 51.9 with a 5K.
Right.
At the end of that season, it was doing a 60 on 3K. So I mean, I'm not a parameters guy. I don't DATS everything or anything like that. I'll do a box to test with, to start with, and kind of see where it falls, see where the best ratio is there, and I mean, you've seen how I made my rear enclosure. I made it to where I could tune my front chamber, which is easier said than done. It took some chains and a forklift and a couple months of ingenuity to be able to move that thing forward a quarter of an inch or an inch to see, if there was any gain there. And then you got to mess with your port after you do that. I mean, you could spend 4 or 5 years on a single build, without replacing any electronics at all and still be gaining. It's just how much time do you have to throw at it. That's really where you get your gain from, That's what I say, like, if nothing else, somebody got lucky because I won't be outworked.
I mean, it's usually that, you know, usually time, money, and money.
Yeah, a lot of time.
Whoever spends the most of both will usually come out, at the top. It's like, I beat a lot of people with time, I guess, but there's no ifs, ands, or buts, no way around it. You do end up spending some money.
Absolutely.
But, I think the work ethic and the testing and all that stuff that definitely, you can't just. I guess what I'm trying to say is you can't just throw the wallet at it. You have to spend some time with it too. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. That's where the last 10% comes from. You could have one of these guys engineer you a box, and they do a hell of a job, but that's only the first 90%. The last 10% is all you.
Right. I think this is a misconception, David, because to me there's not really such a thing as building it for power. You're building it for your setup. I mean, yeah, there's certain things that you can do or that you might have to do to build something for big giant power, but are we talking big power 20,000 watts, or are we talking big power 50,000 watts, or are we talking big power 150,000 watts? So any speaker could do good in any given application. It just depends on how well that particular speaker matches what your application is trying to do. At least that's kind of my take on it, or my experience is, just because it might be built for higher power doesn't necessarily mean it won't be efficient or that it won't be loud on lower power. There's a whole lot of variables that go into that. Your speaker box, the size of it, the size of the box compared to the port. So basically, box port ratio.
Loading.
Well, I'm getting there. Like, then you got the loading part. What are you loading it off of? How far away is the speaker from that loading surface? And then it's not really a secret, and it's probably not really rocket science. But if there's one thing that I do that I feel like some people look at me crazy, or they don't like, I never looked at it that way, but like, the vehicle is the box. And I know a lot of guys do view it that way, but a lot of folks don't. So, understand that just because you're a no-wall, you still got a sixth order. You still got a fourth order. There's just so many variables that go into it. When you're working with speakers, it's usually application to application to try to maximize your application with that particular driver. At least that's kind of how I do it. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, you might have to make it stiffer or whatever to take more power, but in reality, it doesn't really make it take more power. It just maybe slows it down before it breaks mechanically. Oh. Always putting in work. Yep. I think Curtis' motto is earned. I get that. That's your motto, huh?
It is. If I had a tattoo, that's what it would say, for real.
Heck yeah. So I don't know. I think a lot of us are pretty similar. We know it takes a lot of time, no matter what. So, that's the first thing, time.
Yeah, and the people that you surround yourself with is really the key ingredient to it. Also, I'm not the guru. I'm a student. I still learn stuff every day. There's people that've been in this 20 years less than me that blow my mind.
Right.
So the group of people that come to my shop, they've all got an expertise in their own way. Everybody's got something to bring to the table. So
that's kind of how we always kind of did things. I kept a lot of I'm not the most book smart guy, but I know how to make stuff work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, MacGyver.
So I take the smart guy, and he says this, and I'm like, oh, but we can't make that work, but this will. And then they're like, that's not supposed to work, and I'm like, I know, but it does. But that's how we always kind of did things too. Like, I had the guys that were pretty smart with the electrical stuff, guys that were good at building stuff, guys that were good at coming up with really good ideas, but they just couldn't ever make it happen. I don't know. And then you put them all together, and then everybody ends up having something pretty special usually. So
absolutely. Chemistry.
When did we first meet?
When did we first meet?
Casper, maybe?
Yeah, it was either that or Cell Block 6. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soups were only 14 cents then, though.
2 was 14.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was Carl Casper.
I feel like it was probably Carl Casper, maybe sometime between 2001 and 2003.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I didn't register as a member until 2004. So I went to a couple shows back then, you know. I got waxed a few times, you know. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have to step my game up on this one. These guys
It
ain't
might have been a
playing.
little later than that. Maybe it could have been '04. I started going to Casper in '01. And then I think I bought a membership in '03, but I only went to Casper and never really used it. And
Yeah,
then I kind of didn't do nothing for a while. I went to Casper every year because it was like, the local thing.
yeah.
And
That was a
then
great show.
I really got into it in like 2007, but I'm pretty sure I met most of you guys at Carl Casper. Like, I know I met Joe and Dan and maybe Jack and them were there. I can't remember if you were there or not though. But
Yeah,
I'm sure that's probably where it was.
I know I was there in '04. I might have been there in '03, but I wasn't member status yet or nothing.
Because I remember like Joe and Jack, they had their moving blankets over top of their CRXs and
Oh
stuff.
yeah. No pictures, please.
And yeah, and and Shannon was like, "What are they doing?" And I was like, "I don't know." And she's like, "I'm about to find out." And I was like, "Leave them alone." And she went and got right under their blanket and was like, "What are y'all doing under here?"
We're cuddling.
They were in there working on it, and so that's how I remember that because she just was like, "Oh, hey, what are y'all doing?"
Yeah. Joe got that move from the movie Major League. Hats for bats. You know, same as blankets for subs. Keep subs warm.
Right. What was the first car show you took your wife to?
That'd been Slam.
Slam.
The Slam was the first show we went to. I didn't compete or anything, you know. I was just watching. We went to a Sun TV show out here. It was a MECA show because I always talk about it, and like, oh yeah, I was large and in charge. She's like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
We went out there and people were like, hey, what's up? So then that's a good thing too. Like if your family supports you, man, it makes this hobby a whole lot more blessed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the first time around, my wife didn't want nothing to do with it. And, I basically was my own cheering section. This time, she goes to all the shows with me. She does a PR for me and everything. She's more than happy to share to 30 groups.
She designs your background for you.
Yeah, she shows everybody my bikini pics, my Dolce and Banana commercial, she loves doing it, anytime she can embarrass.
She might not make as good a sandwich as Jack Thomas' wife, but she always brings food for everybody too.
Absolutely. Yeah. You ain't gonna starve to death if you're friends with her, that's for sure.
That's right. Yeah, Carl Casper's what got me into it, really. That's probably what got a lot of us that are around Louisville interested into it. I remember going to that show and like you could barely move. There was so many people in there.
Yeah.
The first couple years I remember going. Of course, you had to walk around shoulder to shoulder with Elder all fucking night. Yeah. And oh, excuse me, I'm bad.
Yeah, I didn't do it. Come on, man.
That was bad, but yeah. Yeah, walk around and listen to Elder all night, Motor Mouth Elder.
Yep. I shut him down once. He thought he had something for me too. It was cute.
I remember.
Yeah. You remember I made the rafters rain in the sound quality building, and everybody was mad at me. You can make me park outside next year.
Yeah, he said that Kevin said that the spread she brings out to the shows is unmatched.
Yeah, now you guys know why I'm fat.
Right?
No doubt. I'm well fed, that's for sure.
All right, y'all. So I got Kurt to sit still for an hour, so that's an accomplishment. So if you got any last minute questions, you better shoot them, and we'll let Kurt get back to his busyness because we know how he likes to stay busy over there.
Oh, I've been whittling wood for the last 20 minutes.
He's been whittling wood. I couldn't imagine sending my husband to a show alone. I fight with him to go to more. That's Whitney. Well, that's good. Oh, he's building your bathroom shelves. I took you away from your honey-do list, dog.
Oh, darn it.
All right, well, I don't know that I have any big questions for you, but I think like uh Lauren already snitched on us. I think I've probably known Kurt now for 20 years or so. So been going a long time in this little game of stereos, and glad you're still out here playing and teaching people, and looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely. Same.
And if you got anything to say to the MECA heads out there, I'll let you go ahead and take it away, and then we'll close it out, man.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't really have nothing to say. You want to get louder? Take good notes and test. Yeah, I love this game, man. If you went down my Facebook list, I bet you 90% of the people on my Facebook are people I met through car audio. I do consider this my family, and that's really the drawing for me, that and the math, which is really weird to my wife, but I like the math part of it, the testing and the revision, I don't really like wiring and all that crap, anybody can do that.
Oh, so you're like me. You like the part everybody else hates.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I'll make
Yeah.
something really strange and add it to the van, and I'm like, okay, now it's time to call the R&E committee and see if this is legal. It doesn't say you can't,
Right.
So I mean that's
And then I answer the phone and say, "Look, you Ohio mother," and
right. Like, how did you even think of that?
and then I remember that's my punishment for all the times I thought of stuff.
Well, it's my fault, I mow a lot of grass in the summer, so during my mowing time, I'm still ADHD, so I'm like thinking about stuff that I can do to make it better, more efficient, or like I wonder if anybody's tried that before, So that's really, I mean, when I ain't doing nothing, I'm still doing something.
I hear that. They said don't wire your subs backwards to slinky the coils, or wire below your amps recommended liking, or you get magic smoke. Yep, all that stuff.
Oh, I don't wire that low. I got dual 0.5s. I wire them in parallel, and that's what I run. What the coolest thing about that van is my reactive can go from 0.5 to 2.5 by my door vent. So you see how I have that spacer in my door? That keeps my amps at about 1.3 ohms reactive. If I open the door all the way, it is super efficient, but the reactive is 0.5. Like with my door all the way open, I could probably do like a 60 at the headrest on 500 watts, but at 4K per amp, the amps will shut off.
Right.
So I kind of found the happy medium there. That door is the door is the key.
Why are you telling everybody the car's the box, Kurt?
Because it is. It's just another change.
You just adjusted your second port.
You got to change your port out, man. You got to make it longer. Yeah.
All right, y'all. I appreciate it, Kurt.
Thank you for having
Thanks
me,
for
guys.
coming on. I guess before I let you leave, I got to make you pick the next victim. So, who should I get on here next? Should Shannon says it has to be somebody that either won a championship or they won a club award
for this year.
So
for this year or collectively?
Yeah, for last year.
Well, I'd say a good person to have on here would be Danny Black then. You know,
All right.
he's been away for a while, and he finally got back in the lanes and looked like he did pretty good. You know, so he's a wealth of knowledge too, and he's pretty funny, I guess. You know, unless he's making fun.
He's more funny than he is a wealth of
Oh yeah.
knowledge.
Well, no, he's an onion, man. You got to peel
No,
many
I know.
layers on that one. I'll tell you.
I known Danny for a while. I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see if I can get Danny on here. I might have to pick somebody in the middle before they get, because y'all keep picking your buddies, so that might be
Well,
bad.
good thing is I don't have many buddies. You know.
I don't know.
He'd be good.
Well, I guess I'm gonna get him. So Danny will be next. I'll get Danny next, I guess, and then we'll get him to pick somebody.
Yeah, he'll give you an off the waller.
I'm sure he will. He's good at that. He's good at calling me too and saying, "Hey, I want to try this or I want to try that." No,
Yeah, we were talking about it at the shop. He's the reason that there's an R&E committee.
not even close. I think they had that before me and Joe got here, and they put me on it just because they were like, finally they were like, "Hey, we need you to come on the R&E committee just so you can tell us what you're going to do when we tell you the rule." And I'm like,
Right.
okay. But all right, I think we did it. We got an hour in. I think we got some good information. Like I said, I appreciate you, Kurt.
Likewise.
And I'm sure we'll see you here coming
Oh.
soon. I know we're kind of in the slow time right this second, but it won't be too long. We'll turn around. It'll be March. So
there is no off season.
Hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't talk to you again before then. And I guess we'll be signing out, and everybody really knows the drill from here.